Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Retro Chat podcast. It's Thursday night. We are live. My name's Andy Evans, coming to you from a very sunny Weymouth here in Dorset. How's everybody doing? Are you good? Firstly, apologies. We were meant to be live last night. Had a bit of a family problem. Had to sort that out. Anyone who's got a 3-year-old toddler will understand the pressures of bedtime, especially when you've got to try and deal with that. So we couldn't make it, but we are back and we're trying again. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody is good. Tonight, really big show because our main topic is going to be looking at Wrestling Society X. We're going to be doing a retro recap on that. Plus, we're going to be giving you the results and talking through a little bit of WrestleMania 38 and the big news coming out this week regarding season 3 of Star Trek Picard. So all of that is to come, plus the announcement of what we're talking about next week. Now, if you want to come and join me, please do so. I'm broadcasting live right now across the information superhighway, to steal it from Law. You can catch us on Facebook at the MOS Network. You can go to twitch.tv/the MOS Network, or you can join us on YouTube, youtube.com/Retro Chat Podcast UK, or youtube.com/the MOS Network. We've got a live interactive chat room, and we've got one comment already. Hi, Chris. Chris is from the UK. Hi from the UK, Chris. I'm from the UK as well. We'll be putting the chat room up throughout the night. Now, let's get some details underway. If you would like to follow us on social media, then you can do. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the Retro Chat Podcast. Tweet us and join in the conversation using the hashtag #BackInTime at Retro Chat Pod. We've given you the YouTube already. You can watch on Retro Chat Podcast UK. But did you know we're also on podcast? You can listen to us on the audio feed. All you need to do is go to any major podcast provider and search for Retro Chat Podcast. And we've got the weekly show on there. We got some from the vaults. Some of the previous shows that I used to do are going on there as well. Plus, we've got Masters of the Universe Chronicles. If you're a fan of He-Man in the MOTU, then Chris Finn used to present a great show back in the day, and we are in repeats of those. Other shows on the MOS Network before we crack on: No Jamming, Just Slamming. It's the Ministry of Slam live every Sunday from 7 p.m. GMT across all the MOS Network, including YouTube and Twitch. Big shout out to those guys. They are doing phenomenal work at the moment. Great shows over WrestleMania week. If you didn't check them out on YouTube. The MOS Arena Rumble, the WrestleMania preview, the review, anything they did is absolutely amazing. And a big congratulations for hitting over 1,600 views on Sunday night's live show. Massive achievement. So congratulations to them. You can also listen to their audio podcast, again, on all major providers, searching Ministry of Slam. Okay, so this topic this week is Wrestling Society X. Man, what's it going to be? We are talking Wrestle Society X. And what was it? Well, actually, it was a precursor to what many people consider to be Lucha Underground. Only ran for 10 episodes in total. It was an MTV project from the mind of Kevin Kleinrock. And Kevin Kleinrock, for those of you who don't know, was from XPW. He created Extreme Pro Wrestling, the hardcore sort of replacement for ECW, really back in the day. So MTV decided that they wanted to get into the wrestling market. And they went, how are we going to do it? Well, we're not going to do it like the WWE. We're not going to do it like TNA. We're going to do an alternative. And they went in to a staged arena. It was a studio set, which they called the WSX Bunker. And my God, it was underground, right? It was insane. The first night that we saw it, you had pyro everywhere. You had blowing up caskets. You had everything. It wasn't traditional professional wrestling, but that's kind of what made it cool. So all of the episodes were actually taped back in 2006 and aired over 9 consecutive weeks, because the finale, the 10th show, actually never aired. So it premiered on January the 30th, 2007 on MTV, originally airing at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on a Tuesday to compete with, as though it had any competition, to compete with ECW on Sci-Fi. Anybody remember that? WECW, the amazing product that's the amazing product that the WWE put out. The WSX Championship was the only championship featured and defended, but Chris Kloss, who was one of the announcers, did hint towards the end of the series of the arrival of the WSX Tag Team titles. It was also announced that it would be the creation of an X Division style. So they were obviously planning for this to go into a second season, and ratings just weren't there. Chris in the chat room is saying Vampiro was wrestling good matches. Vampiro was definitely an interesting character. Vampiro got a good run in WSX. He became the inaugural WSX champion, defeating Six Puck in the episode 2. The first episode was the WSX 10-man Rumble, which was just off the charts. It was extreme. And then you had Sean Waltman and Vampiro in a singles match to compete for the vacant WSX championship. Now, if you've never seen it, go back and watch it, because there's a casket at ringside, and Vampiro does a tombstone pile driver onto Waltman into the casket, at which point Pyro just goes in everywhere. I mean, it's an incredible sight to see, and the crowd were absolutely ravenous for it. And it was different. It was what made it interesting. It was just an interesting product to watch that was totally different to what you would see from WWE or TNA at that time. And I think one of the best things about it was only 19 minutes in length once you took the adverts break. So it was like a 30-minute show, take the ads out, 19 minutes. They got about 2 or 3 matches on there and a couple of promos, and then it was done. So it was a really quick way to watch some regular wrestling without having to sit through a 2 or 3 hour edition of Monday Night Raw. It also introduced us to some future mainstream performers, and we're going to touch on that in just a second, because one of the men that was involved in this event was called Matt Classic, who otherwise known to AEW and Ring of Honor fans as Colt Cabana. You also had Tyler Black, who is Seth freaking Rollins, now in the WWE and went on to major success. Jack Evans was in there. Matt Seidel was in there. Six Pack was in there. The Human Tornado, Jimmy Jacobs, Cancel Cultures, Joey Ryan, the Disco Machine, Aaron Aguilera, Chris Hamrick, Vampiro, Vic Grimes, Teddy Hart. I mean, this wasn't a lackluster roster. This had some people that you'd never seen before. It had Lizzie Borden in it from XPW, but it was a roster that had some future legends in there, and we've seen what some of them have done. Yeah, we've seen what some of them haven't done, and some of them we try to forget, like Joey Ryan. But the Human Tornado and Jack Evans and Matt Seidel, when they were still in their young stages of their careers, and what they went on to do, and WSX gave them that opportunity. Just go back and check it out, because it was absolutely incredible. So if we look through the 9 episodes that aired, so it kicked off on January the 30th, 2007, with the WSX Rumble. Special musical guests, because it's MTV, was Black Label Society. The following week, as we said, was the WSX Championship. It was Six Pack facing off against Vampiro, with 3-6 Mafia as the musical guests. Then we had Tables, Ladders, and Cervezas. We had El Hombre Bianco Enmascarado. Couldn't say that again if I tried. Versus the Human Tornado. Eric Cannon versus Delicado was on episode 5. DIFH FH versus that 70s team was week 6. Then we had the title change in week 8. WSX, Ricky Banderas versus Vampiro, with Pitbull as the musical guest. And the title switch happened. And Ricky Banderas is now the second and only longest reigning WSX champion in history, because technically he still has the title. In week 9, it was Human Tornado versus Jack Evans. And in episode 10, which didn't air, was an exploding cage match. And the Newfound Glory were the special guests. So MTV aired unadvertised previews of the first 2 episodes on the Friday before they premiered at 11 p.m. Eastern. Prior to WSX debuting, the time slot normally averaged a 0.10 rating. The first preview episode on the 26th of January drew a 0.43. The second preview on February 2nd drew 0.5. MTV discontinued preview airings, beginning with the 3rd episode in hopes of maximizing the Tuesday broadcast, which obviously didn't happen. The highest rating that they had was a 1. That was on the premiere episode, and it gradually went down. The lowest was 0.3. They did 3 weeks of doing 0.4. So not the best in terms of ratings. And the question has to be asked, really, why was that? Was that because fans were not used to this different type of extreme product? Were fans not used? I mean, this is more extreme than ECW. You know, it's more extreme than XPW. It's kind of bringing some of the CZW deathmatch style and some of the Japanese deathmatch influences over to the United States. And we hadn't really seen that before. And it does take a lot for the fans to kind of get used to. Chris, no, have you got any clips? Unfortunately, we can't play any because of copyright on YouTube, but there are episodes on YouTube. If you search for Wrestling Society X, you will get some. But it's worth having a look at. You can also still get the DVDs. It was released on November the 13th, 2007. Features all 10 episodes plus the spin-off that they did online called WS Extra with special features. All the musical performances were edited out of the DVD set. But there were also scenes recorded for the 2nd season, and they are there. Right. I mean, it's just an incredible promotion to watch. And in a few weeks' time, we're going to be doing a look back at the follow-up promotion. And I say follow-up in the most loosest possible way, because as we said at the beginning, if you look at the concept of WSX and you look at the way they positioned it as being in an underground bunker, in a studio, in a different format, in a much more episodic, serialized style, then that is definitely where Lucha Underground from El Rey comes into play. Now, in a few weeks' time, we are going to be looking back at all 4 seasons of Lucha Underground. I'm going to be joined by a guest, someone who is a massive super fan of Lucha. We're going to be talking about that. But what's really left to say about this is the fact that it was so different. It was good. And I didn't like it the first time round. When I first watched WSX, I turned it off. And I remember actually talking to Lee from Ministry of Slam back in the day when we used to host the audio version of TSC at that point. And I think I said to him, this is absolute garbage, and couldn't watch it. And what is it? You know, I'm an old man now, used to the old style. And it's taken 20 odd years to really kind of get to that point. Not 20 odd years, 2007 to 2022, whatever the maths are. I don't know. It's like, it's taken, that amount of time to actually kind of look at it in a different perspective and going, wrestling's changed, we've changed, the industry's changed, we've seen things we never expected to see, really. It has its place in history. And Kevin Kleinrock and the production team of MTV did a fantastic job. It was different. It broke the mold. It was the alternative. AEW considers itself to be an alternative now. Impact, when it first launched, considered itself to be an alternative. This is or was the most alternative product that you could find. It's worth watching it just for that. Plus, some of the promos were so damn bad. Seriously. There's one called the Trailer Park Boys. I mean, it's terrible. Just watch it for that, please. If you're looking for a match to kind of showcase what WSX was all about, Matt Sydal versus Jack Evans in the opening episode, the first match of episode 1, the first match in WSX, It was X Division, high flying spot fest, and that set the tone for what WSX was going to be about. It mixed hardcore with high flying. It mixed lucha libre, X Division with ECW. It's worth. I can't stress it enough. It's just worth watching it. Plus, the ring announcer is mental. Did I mention that? The ring announcer is absolutely insane. Reminds me of the old Progress here in the UK ring announcer, Jim Smallman. All right. So last week on Ministry of Slam, they talked about WrestleMania 38. Of course, did the review of night 1 and the preview of night 2. I'm not going to go into detail on it now. I'm just going to give you some opinions, really, because of the fact that, I watched WrestleMania live, night 2 live. I'm sure I'll go into more detail on this at another point. Was it the best WrestleMania of all time? No. Was it the worst? Absolutely not. It had some great matches in it. It's on the WWE Network. It had some great moments. The one that I'm sure we're all going to talk about very soon is the return, the big debut. I'm not going to spoil it just yet. Everybody knows who it is. I'm going to listen to what the guys say on Sunday at Ministry of Slam. Check it out, 7 o'clock live, because I'm sure Lee and Lawrence are going to have a massive conversation about. Well, Lawrence is not there. It's going to have a massive conversation with whoever's hosting it about WrestleMania 38 and that return of Cody Rhodes. So Ministry of Slam live Sunday, 7 p.m. GMT. All right. Something happened yesterday, Tuesday. It's now Thursday. Something happened in the world of entertainment, which, if you're a Star Trek fan, really just kind of sealed the fandom. And it was First Contact Day. And a certain graphic, a certain trailer appeared. And we can't play the trailer again for copyright reasons. But this graphic appeared on screen. The cast of the next generation. Patrick Stewart, LeVar Burton, Michael Dorn, Jonathan Frakes, Gates McFadden, Marina Sirtis, Brent Spiner have all been confirmed to be in the final season, the finale of Star Trek Picard season 3. Now, season 2 is still airing. We're going to touch on that in just a second. Season 3 has announced that the TNG cast are back, and it's not cameos. They are going to be joining the main cast and in it for the entire season. As a Star Trek fan, this really excites me because this is kind of like season 8 of The Next Generation, which we never got. Jonathan Frakes, Will Riker has said for years that show could have continued for 8, 9, 10 seasons. And now we're getting to see season 8. This is going to be the swan song for Patrick Stewart. We know this is the end of the Picard character. They've already announced that. But it is going to be seriously interesting to see what they do with that cast. Yes, I have time to watch seasons 1 and 2. You absolutely do. It's not going to be airing until I think end of this year, beginning of January in 2023. It's meant to be 10 episodes. We know that. It's going to be very much ship-based. It's going to be Federation ships. There's also discussion about who the main villain is going to be. Now, we still have about 4 episodes left of season 2 of Picard to find out, what's actually going to happen. Who is going to be there? Is Q obviously not going to, his plan's not going to work. You can tell that if the Next Generation cast are coming back in. But are they going to make cameos in the finale? Is that going to set up season 3? We're going to have to wait and see. Because Picard, season 2 of Star Trek Picard has been absolutely phenomenal. Season 1, Jalla Ray is not the best. I'm not gonna mollycoddle it. It's not the best, but season 2 has absolutely kicked ass from the minute it first started. It's taking it back to old school Trek. It's a serial series, so there's one underlying story going all the way through, but the acting has been superb. The character development, especially of Agnes Jurati, Dr. Agnes Jurati, has been tremendous, and that relationship with the Borg and the Borg Queen is now really stepped up. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this. It is obviously about Picard. It's about Jean-Luc Picard. It's about him righting the wrongs. It's about the love interest with him and Laris. But it's such a good series. In fact, the last 3 episodes, I would go on fact to saying, is some of the best that I've seen in Star Trek. It is so much better than Discovery. Discovery has had its problems, and that's shown. But check it out if you can. Airing on Amazon Prime Video every Friday. Episodes dropping at 8 a.m. Or if you're in the US, it's exclusively available on Paramount Plus. Now, other bit of news coming out before we begin to wrap up the show for this week. Ezra Miller is in some legal troubles. Now, we know that Ezra Miller, who plays the Flash in the DC universe, has had a bit of an impact with the law, shall we say. There is now rumors that DC bosses want to axe him from the Flash movie. How's that going to work? I don't know. That film, Flashpoint, has been plagued with problems right from the word go, having 3 directors, God knows how many scripts, and the only original member of the Justice League, apart from Gal Gadot, left in the franchise. What is going to happen to the Flashpoint movie? That's the big question. It's been rumored, according to sources on set, that Ezra Miller has been hard to work with, had regular meltdowns, and has just basically delayed production. Now, with the legal troubles coming in as well, you got to think that this is either going to be it for the film, at which point it's really going to affect what DC does, because that's effectively the Snyderverse coming to an end. But also, we were meant to be getting that appearance by Michael Keaton as the 89 Batman, which I think all of us were looking forward to. Now, that might not happen. There is another option. If fans are petitioning for Grant Gustin, of course, he plays Barry Allen and the Flash on the CW Arrowverse, to take over. I don't know if that would work. I mean, it would have the following. The fans would go over from CW to watch that film, and it could potentially give it a bigger box office. Is Grant Gustin big enough to, or as much of a draw to be able to run and handle the Flash franchise on the big screen as part of the DCU? That we're going to have to wait and see. But we do know that we have got Supergirl coming out soon. We've got Aquaman. Who knows what's going to happen with Wonder Woman? But it looks like Flashpoint is in some sort of jeopardy. All right, that is it for this week of the Retro Chat podcast. But what is coming up next week? Well, next week, we're going to be sticking with the wrestling theme. I was going to be moving away from it and doing something different. However, we've got a guest host joining us next week, and we're going to be looking at Backlash 2004. It's the retro recap for the match, for the triple threat that was the rematch from WrestleMania, which featured Canadian Chris Benoit against Shawn Michaels against Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship, the rematch from WrestleMania 20. We're going to be covering that from the MOS network, from the MOS community. Bericles will be joining me live next Wednesday from 7:30 right here across the MOS network. So it's going to be a good one. If you've got any comments, any memories of Backlash 2004, if you've got any comments about it, let me know across all of social media. Again, Facebook and Instagram at Retro Chat Podcast, or you can tweet us at Retro Chat Pod using the hashtag Back in Time. And if you're a Star Wars fan, check out the YouTube channel right now at Retro Chat Podcast UK, because Chris Vint is back with one of his new Vinto Vault videos where he's doing movie versus movie, Star Wars versus Star Wars. Check it out, because it is a really good watch. Just before we go, what is upcoming on the MOS network this week? Well, they're going to be looking at all of the WrestleMania fallout, of course, looking at Monday Night Raw, NXT, AEW Dynamite. Plus, Lee's going to be welcoming a guest host, and we'll find out who that is this Sunday live at 7 o'clock on the MOS network. The podcast for this will be available tomorrow, and you can subscribe on all podcasts available feeds. just by searching Retro Chat Podcast. But now let's go to the main two men to find out more about the MOS Network.
Join the MOS Network,
the home of the Ministry of Slam Pro Wrestling show every Sunday at 7 p.m. UK time. We bring you all the latest wrestling news, fun segments, and of course we bring you classic wrestling interviews from the last 20 years.
The only people that really have taken shots.
Well, that didn't work very well, did it? No, that was meant to be. We'll fix that in post-production. This is why we're live. If for some reason that didn't work. That's it for me. I will see you all very soon. Thanks for joining us this week on the Retro Chat Podcast. Thanks for bearing with us. It was a quick 30-minute show. I promised a live show. I wanted to be back. I wanted to be back last night. It didn't happen. Thanks for everyone who's joined us live in the chat room. Normal service back next week. We will see you live 7:30 with Bericles for Backlash 2004 Retro Recap. On the podcast feed this week, we will be releasing a Master of the Universe Chronicles. That's going to be coming this weekend, and possibly an interview with Anson Mount that was done at Destination Star Trek a couple of years ago. So stay tuned for the podcast feed. But until then, my name's Andy Evans. I will see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye for now.